Plenum-rated cabling is required in any space that serves as a pathway for environmental air movement. This includes plenum spaces above drop ceilings, raised floors, and voids in walls and ceilings. Consider a commercial suite with a front half that is typical office space with a drop ceiling and a back half that is a wide open warehouse space with no drop ceiling. The separation between the two areas does not contain a wall that goes up to the building's roof. From the warehouse area, it is possible to look back and see the area above the office space, which is sometimes used for storage. If there are air returns in the drop ceiling in the offices, the space above is likely a plenum area. Therefore, plenum-rated cabling is required. As the designer and installer of the cabling, there is a responsibility to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and standards. Using non-plenum-rated cabling in a plenum area could pose a fire hazard and potentially expose to liability in the event of a fire. Based on the information provided, plenum-rated cabling is likely required in the warehouse area of the client's suite. To resolve any issues, it is possible to request an inspection by the local building inspector to confirm the need for plenum-rated cabling. You could also provide documentation or references from authorities having jurisdiction, also known as AHA, that support your position. Even if the area is not technically considered a plenum space by the National Electrical Code, or NE, using plenum-rated cabling throughout the entire suite could provide an additional level of safety and peace of mind. Consider the potential cost implications of using plenum-rated cabling versus non-plenum-rated cabling. Plenum-rated cabling may be more expensive, but the potential liability risks and safety concerns may outweigh the cost difference. The NEC defines a plenum as a compartment or chamber to which one or more air ducts are connected and which forms part of the air distribution system. Specifically, look at section 300.22. This section covers wiring in ducts, plenums, and other environmental air handling spaces. Subsection C specifically addresses other spaces used for environmental air, or plenums. It provides requirements for wiring methods and equipment installed in ducts or plenums specifically used for environmental air. This means spaces such as those above a suspended ceiling used for air handling purposes. The NEC specifies that only certain wiring methods are permitted in plenums due to the fire and smoke characteristics of the materials. Plenum-rated cables are designed to produce less smoke and harmful fumes in the event of a fire, which is critical in areas where air is circulated throughout the building. Using the correct type of cable helps to prevent the spread of fire and toxic smoke through the ventilation system. The NEC requires that cables installed in plenums be listed as plenum-rated. These cables are identified by markings such as CMP, which stands for Communications Plenum. These markings indicate that the cables have been tested and certified to meet the standards for plenum use. If non-plenum-rated cables are installed in a plenum space, they could contribute to the spread of fire and smoke. This can create a dangerous situation for building occupants and can also lead to code violations and potential liability issues. In a typical commercial building, the space above a suspended ceiling is often used as a plenum for air distribution. Air returns are placed in the ceiling to draw air back to the HVAC system. This means that cables running through this space must be plenum-rated to comply with the NEC. In addition to the NEC, local building codes may also have specific requirements for plenum cabling. It's important to check with the local authorities having jurisdiction to ensure compliance with all applicable codes. In some cases, even if a space is not technically defined as a plenum, it may still be a good idea to use plenum-rated cables for added safety. This is especially true in areas where there is a high risk of fire or where the consequences of a fire could be severe. When selecting plenum-rated cables, it's important to choose cables that are appropriate for the specific application. Consider factors such as the type of data being transmitted, the distance of the cable run, and the environmental conditions. There are different types of plenum-rated cables available, including data cables, communication cables, and power cables. Make sure to choose the correct type of cable for the job. When installing plenum-rated cables, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and to use proper installation techniques. This will help to ensure that the cables perform as intended and that they meet all applicable codes and standards. Proper support and securing of the cables is also important to prevent damage and to maintain the integrity of the installation. Using cable trays, J-hooks, or other approved support methods can help to keep the cables organized and protected. Regular inspections of the cabling system can help to identify potential problems before they become serious. Look for signs of damage, such as cuts, abrasions, or exposure to moisture. Any damaged cable should be replaced immediately to prevent safety hazards. It's also a good idea to keep records of all cabling installations, including the type of cable used, the date of installation, and the location of the cable runs. This information can be helpful for troubleshooting and maintenance purposes. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure that your cabling system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and standards. Remember to always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer if you have any questions or concerns about plenum cabling. They can provide expert advice and guidance to help you make the right decisions for your specific application. In addition to the physical safety aspects, using plenum-rated cables can also have benefits for indoor air quality. Plenum cables are designed to emit fewer volatile organic compounds, also known as VOC, which can contribute to indoor air pollution. This is especially important in buildings where people spend a lot of time, such as offices, schools, and hospitals. By using plenum-rated cables, you can help to create a healthier and more comfortable indoor environment. Another important consideration is the long-term cost of cabling. While plenum-rated cables may be more expensive upfront, they can often save money in the long run due to their durability and resistance to environmental factors. Plenum cables are designed to withstand harsh conditions, such as high temperatures and humidity, which can extend their lifespan and reduce the need for replacements. When planning a cabling installation, it's also important to consider future needs. Choose a cabling system that is flexible and scalable to accommodate future growth and changes in technology. This may involve using a modular cabling system that can be easily expanded or reconfigured as needed. It's also a good idea to use a structured cabling system, which provides a standardized approach to cabling that makes it easier to manage and maintain the system over time. A structured cabling system typically includes components such as patch panels, cable trays, and labeling systems. These components help to organize the cables and make it easier to identify and troubleshoot problems. In addition to the technical aspects of plenum cabling, it's also important to consider the aesthetic aspects. Cables should be neatly organized and hidden from view whenever possible. This can help to create a more professional and appealing appearance. Cable management accessories, such as cable ties and raceways, can be used to keep cables organized and out of sight. When working with plenum cables, it's important to use proper tools and equipment. This includes cable cutters, strippers, and crimpers that are designed for use with plenum cables. Using the wrong tools can damage the cables and compromise their performance. It's also important to use appropriate safety gear, such as gloves and eye protection, when working with cables. This will help to protect you from potential hazards, such as electrical shock and cut. After the cabling installation is complete, it's important to test the system to ensure that it is working properly. This can be done using a cable tester, which is a device that sends signals through the cables to verify that they are properly connected and that they are transmitting data correctly. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. It's also a good idea to document the testing results for future reference. Regular maintenance of the cabling system is essential to ensure its continued performance and reliability. This includes inspecting the cables for damage, cleaning the cables to remove dust and dirt, and retesting the system periodically. Any problems that are found should be corrected promptly. By following these best practices, you can help to ensure that your cabling system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and standards. Remember to always consult with a qualified professional if you have any questions or concerns. They can provide expert advice and guidance to help you make the right decisions for your specific application. Now let's delve deeper into specific scenarios and considerations for plenum cabling. Consider a hospital environment where air quality and fire safety are paramount. The NEC mandates strict adherence to plenum cabling requirements in areas used for air circulation. In such settings, the choice of plenum-rated cables is not merely a matter of compliance but a critical factor in safeguarding patient health and safety. The same holds true for schools and universities, where large populations are concentrated in enclosed spaces. Plenum cabling ensures that in the event of a fire, toxic fumes are minimized, allowing for safer evacuation and reducing potential health hazards. In office buildings, the use of plenum spaces above suspended ceilings is common for HVAC systems. These spaces often house a complex network of data and communication cables. Ensuring that all cables in these areas are plenum-rated is crucial for maintaining a safe and healthy work environment. Data centers, with their high density of electronic equipment, present unique challenges. The risk of overheating and fire is significant, making plenum cabling an essential component of fire prevention strategies. Furthermore, the low smoke characteristics of plenum cables protect sensitive electronic equipment from damage caused by smoke and corrosive gases. Industrial facilities, with their diverse range of operations, require careful consideration of cabling requirements. Depending on the specific environment, plenum cabling may be necessary in areas where air is circulated or where there is a risk of exposure to hazardous materials. The NEC provides specific guidelines for these types of installations, ensuring that safety is prioritized. When selecting plenum-rated cables, consider the specific performance characteristics required for the application. Data cables, for example, must meet stringent standards for signal transmission and electromagnetic interference. Communication cables must provide clear and reliable voice and data communication. Power cables must be capable of carrying the required current without overheating or posing a fire hazard. The installation of plenum-rated cables requires specialized skills and knowledge. It is essential to engage qualified professionals who are familiar with the NEC and local building codes. Proper installation techniques, including cable support, grounding, and termination, are critical for ensuring the long-term performance and reliability of the cabling system. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential for identifying and addressing potential problems before they escalate. This includes visual inspections for damage, testing for signal integrity, and cleaning to remove dust and debris. A well-maintained cabling system will provide years of reliable service and ensure the safety of building occupants. Furthermore, understanding the different types of plenum cables is important. Firstly, there's CMP, which stands for Communications Plenum. This is the highest rated plenum cable and is suitable for use in air handling spaces. Secondly, there's CLMP, which stands for Class 2 and Class 3 plenum. This type of cable is used for low voltage power circuits in plenum spaces. Thirdly, there's FPLP, which stands for Firepower Limited Plenum. This cable is used for fire alarm circuits in plenum spaces. When installing plenum cables, it's important to follow the manufacturer's recommendations for bend radius and pulling tension. Exceeding these limits can damage the cable and affect its performance. It's also important to avoid kinking or twisting the cable during installation. When routing cables through plenum spaces, use cable trays or other support structures to keep the cables organized and prevent them from sagging or touching other objects. This will help to prevent damage to the cables and maintain proper airflow in the plenum space. Labeling cables is essential for easy identification and troubleshooting. Use a permanent marker or label maker to clearly label each cable with its function and destination. This will save time and effort when performing maintenance or making changes to the cabling system. Proper grounding is essential for preventing electrical noise and ensuring the safety of the cabling system. Connect all cable shields and metallic components to a common ground point. Use a grounding busbar or other approved grounding method. When terminating plenum cables, use connectors that are designed for plenum use. These connectors are made from materials that are resistant to fire and smoke. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for terminating the cables. After terminating the cables, test them to ensure that they are working properly. Use a cable tester to verify that the cables are properly connected and that they are transmitting data correctly. Document the testing results for future reference. Regular maintenance is essential for keeping the cabling system in good condition. Inspect the cables regularly for damage and clean them as needed. Retest the cables periodically to ensure that they are still working properly. Address any problems promptly to prevent them from escalating. Staying up to date on the latest codes and standards is essential for ensuring that the cabling system is compliant. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it's important to stay informed of any changes. Consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that your cabling system meets all applicable requirements. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure that your cabling system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and standards. Remember that safety should always be the top priority.